So you ended up in a position where you need to hire a lawyer. Well, I've been in that position too, whether it comes to probate or property matters. I've had to get somebody else who's an expert in that field to help me out when I've had trouble. So here are some few golden rules when hiring a lawyer from a lawyer. I know it's super stressful, but believe me, you can get through it if you understand the best means of communication. And basically, here are my 3 golden tips. So number 1 is find your type. All lawyers are not the same, just as all doctors are not the same. I'm not really going to go to a vet to fix a broken leg now, am I? So you have corporate lawyers, you have criminal lawyers, you have lawyers that love private client work like setting up trusts, foundations, doing your wills, etc. And then you might have a more specialist lawyer if you're in the aviation industry. So for example, Emirates Airlines would be using specialist aviation financing lawyers if they were setting out a new order for A350s or whatever that might be. So find your type. It's really important to know and do your research. Generally, I would say most people hire me by word of mouth. So yes, sometimes they look me up, or sometimes I'm in a particular ranking or a directory, or they might do a Google search for corporate attorney in Emirates Hills or whatever it is. But generally speaking, my referrals will be by word of mouth. So one client would have told another client in their maison or their group of companies, or a YPO, my client might tell his forum to work with me, etc. So that's how lawyers generally operate, and that's how you should know whether a lawyer has a good reputation or not. So know your type. The second thing I think is clear the lines of communication. So I might be the kind of lawyer that does not want to receive your WhatsApp messages at 3 a.m. with 15 court documents, because I'm going to wake up the next morning and be completely confused. So there is a misconception that lawyers are magicians. I'd love to think we are, but we're not. We depend heavily on the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So the more you tell me and the more information you give me, great, but do it at an appropriate time. Ask me if I want to receive it by WhatsApp or email, because for example, me again, I'm way more efficient by email. I'm able to see the document on my bigger screen, my iMac. I'm able to decide which member of my team might need that, etc. So communication is really important. And number 3, money talks. Talk to your lawyer about the fees. If the lawyer's fee rate is basically 1 fee, then something's wrong with that. Most lawyers would have retainers for ongoing clients. They might have a fixed fee. They might be able to offer you a capped fee, or they might have regular hourly rates like we all do, but you might be able to quantify or cap the hours involved. So it's up to you to negotiate that with your lawyer, but unless you talk about it, and unless you bring it out in the open, and unless you have a deep dive into the terms and conditions that you're signing up for, you're probably going to end up being unhappy because you didn't read what the lawyer wrote, or you ended up in a situation where you accepted the terms of the lawyer but you didn't discuss the fees. I mean, most of the times lawyer-client relationships fall out because they haven't discussed fees very clearly, or there has been some sort of breakdown in communication. And the other thing is, it's not a perfect synergistic relationship. Some lawyers are there to provide you with the service you've asked for. They may or may not need to or want to go beyond their scope. Other lawyers might approach things a bit more strategically and say, oh, look, I know this client has this problem, but I think that going forward, we could avoid this problem because we could strategize a different structure or a different methodology or a different type of distribution contract or whatever that case might be. So don't have the same expectations of all your lawyers, because ultimately we are human beings. We are built differently, we are trained differently, and we come from different ethos. So one size doesn't fit all, just like it's the same thing for your business and the competitors in your business. They all have different nuances and different ways of approaching a problem. So those are my golden tips on hiring a lawyer and having an amazing relationship with your lawyer. A legal relationship or a lawyer-client relationship, to my mind, is a relationship that should really last forever. And that's why if I'm hiring a lawyer, I'd follow the same rules. Thank you for following Think Tank this week and for watching so diligently, and hope your next hiring is not stressful, or you're most welcome to my office.